Hello and
Yeah,
welcome back to Yellow Card TCG. We are here with Game 3 of the VPL Finals of 2024. We have got the third game in the series of Owl Coop versus Dinobozos. And in this game, we have the captain of the Dinobozos himself, CardDweeb, Mr. Charlie Vanguard, playing against Kenzio Rafael, one of the premier players on the North Coast for Team Owl Coop. And I am joined today by Crow's Nest's very own Nate Sagran. Hello, hello.
hello, hello.
If you want a quick minute to introduce yourself while these players are taking their first turn and setting up.
Yeah, looks like again I'm Sagran on Twitter, or better known as Nate. Either one of those. I'm in real life. I'm an actual member of the Crow's Nest here in the Georgia region, and one of the level 2 judges in the NALA region for Card 5 Vanguard. And I was one of the co-captains this year for our VPL for Crow's Nest. Unfortunately, we didn't make it, but I'm very excited to see. It looks like we got a mirror match going on right now,
Yep,
folks.
Shiranui
Ooh,
mirror. And
maybe it could be. Maybe the grade zero's grade one's different. Who knows?
nope,
Nope. Now
there it
there
is,
we go. It's a mirror
confirmed.
match.
And
Nope. I
very
lied.
so Kenzio got to go. It looks like Kenzio's going second there because I assume he won the
Mhm.
dice roll, which is great. Neither player discarding a cycler for ride, but we do see the Shenry on turn one. So
Correct.
early aggro is exactly where you want to be in the stride deck mirror match.
Exactly, and I'm very curious to see how these players are going to, especially in the mirror match. Now that grade 2 game with Shotodoji is not really a thing anymore due to that August banning list that we got here in the English format.
Yeah, so Charlie there discarding
Ooh.
his Drag Ritter to get the extra draw. Definitely comes in handy. Finds a
Yeah.
Ford. Unfortunately, that Ford didn't come down on turn two, which was going to be his chance to pressure back. But we do have the Ford anyway, which is still a powerhouse card in this matchup. You know, arguably makes up for losing Isazao.
hmm Correct. Yeah, and then but it looks like Charlie swung in with Genki backed by Seiryu. Looks like to get again trying to get that aggro pressure back on Kenzio right back to him.
So we'll see how Kenzio responds here. Does Kenzio have his own Ford Revertis? Does he have his own cycler? Does he have we saw the drive check Oboro, so Charlie's definitely guaranteed to be on a timer. There's no he's definitely going to hit the Mukuro, which is something you have to be aware of.
hmm
And it's not like the question is are you running Forbidol? Are you running Angel Ladder? Like, what tools are you going to have to stop them from getting advantage against you? So we're actually going to see
Exactly.
the
Oh,
Oboro being discarded for a ride.
yeah. Interesting. That's probably the early sign of maybe we got some grade 2 pressure or even more Seryus in hand. That's the third Seryu.
Yep, but no Ford though.
Nope.
So I think in this position, I'd say there's almost an argument to not riding if you're in Charlie's shoes, right?
Yeah, I would say probably not riding. You got an early advantage. I mean, yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is we got Kenzio's energy at 6 right now, and if he doesn't find that energy cycler, I mean, we'll definitely know next turn if he goes ahead and does his energy blast 7 for his ride crest skill.
Yeah.
Because if it was me, I would go ahead and just get rid of it because by the time you're going to be able to use your energy cycler once again, you're already going to be at 5. Well, most likely could do it in the
Yeah.
guard step, but still.
Yeah, the critical thing here is that obviously we saw Charlie drove check the Ford Revertis, and
Exactly.
that gives him reason to not ride up because he can just call the Ford Revertis,
Oh,
use the counterblast, and call back the Shenri. But nope, we're just going to go for it.
no.
Discarding a second
And
cycler. Genkai comes out. We are just going to take the ride. I don't hate it. We see the Ford come down.
mhm.
So we're just giving up first stride pressure in
Yeah, but
exchange for
with
being able
this
to tri
early
lane.
aggro,
Yeah, definitely worth it. I think the Genkai being a body is what tilted the
yeah,
decision in his favor there, which you're totally reasonable. So as long as Kenzio doesn't hit defensive here, this is a really strong turn for Charlie. Three
yeah,
attacks, two of which are asking for at least 10k shield. Definitely going to be a lot of pressure coming in. And as we know, even though Isazao's gone, because
mhm,
Isazao's gone, Shiranui doesn't have as much tools to scale with counterblast anymore. Sure, you still have the Ford Revertis,
mhm,
but beyond that, it's just spamming the Tenray at this point, which
exactly.
yeah, it's still not ideal because even if you Tenray, is so if Kenzio takes a bunch of damage, he rides, strides, does one dominate, calls the Tenrays, and then only has one opportunity to bounce the Tenris to redraw again.
Exactly.
And it's not like Charlie can damage an eye either, because you've got the one count loss you need to activate Magen Tenbu. So,
Ooh.
the defensive
Ooh, that
OT.
helped. That solves a lot of the issues that we were seeing just now.
Absolutely.
No over trigger, but we're definitely going to get a swing in, I believe, maybe with Sarayu, maybe. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely want to
just for the
put it back
draw.
in the stall so you get the draw.
Mm-hmm. Interesting as well that Kenzio's running the purple OT and not the blue, which I think a lot of people are on at the moment. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I do agree that most Stride decks should be running purple OT now, even Messiah, despite the strength of
Yeah,
Elder Breath. You know, like these are late game decks. You want to guarantee you hit the late game. Uh, and it's just one of those ones where, especially like the only downside to purple OT in Shiranui is that you lose a lot of value of the extra call because your whole board is usually restanding anyway.
correct.
And
Yeah. The thought process is maybe we're running it due to the Makuro, maybe because you don't want to call a board right away and you want to get the extra 10k pressure. But again, it's kind of a little niche scenario that I could possibly think of running blue OT. I mean, sorry, purple OT over blue and Shiranui.
yeah. Now a really interesting decision point comes up for Kenzio. Charlie's left the board of front rows. Obviously, Magen
Exactly.
Tenbu will retire
Ooh.
one,
We
but
were able to discard a cycler for that, so we're gonna energy blast 3 here in just a second.
yeah, strong draw. Again, the point is that there's an argument here for Kenzio to damage an eye Charlie. So you're like, no,
Ooh.
you stride Magen Tenbu and you can't use it. Of course, Charlie
Exactly.
does have the option to whichever one Kenzio doesn't dominate, he just intercepts it away, and then Magen Tenbu retires whatever was dominated. So Vanguard will
Correct.
probably go into the Vanguard column, but it is a line. But there's also the option there for Kenzio to just hard aggro back as well, which I think is really interesting.
Did he discard regular Shiranui, or was it the Dragon Empire Grade 3 Stride Dragon?
I think that was the Blue Orbis. I can't really see because of the glare, but
Orbis. Okay, yeah.
we'll see in a bit. But I would assume it's
No
Blue
worries.
Orbis. Because like the
Yeah,
main reason to run the old Shiranui at that point was because it was searchable off the Isa's Owl, which if you're
exactly.
not running anymore, is kind of pointless.
Exactly. Flipping over Makuro, which is pretty smart. We've already discarded Makuro already. I mean, discarded Boro already,
Mm-hmm.
so probably really not going to use Makuro much in this matchup. It looks like he ran his. Trying to look into the
I think what
board
happened
state.
was the dominate attack hit the Vanguard and Charlie got the defensive.
Mhm.
Therefore, the Magen Tenbu attack went after the rearguard
Correct.
because it no longer hit the Vanguard. So
Correct.
yeah, first damage defensives are always good in Shiranui. If you can hit defensive on the on stride, it makes the rest of the turn a lot easier to guard. Kenzio there, tons of soul, has the Furai.
Ooh.
Does he have an Esperidia or a second Furai or something else to convert that soul into pressure, or is this just going to be 4 attacks? Like, both players having early Shenris means that they have
Yeah.
all the hand in the world, so it's not like Charlie's struggling to guard this. The question is whether or not he wants to. Because that Genkai, I don't think, because Kenzio didn't have the counterblast use Genkai's effect. So that
Correct.
Genkai is only going to be a 23k column, which is already 5k shield.
Yeah, and it looks like we did guard the Furai attack originally. Oh, I'm going to go ahead and swing and boosted.
Okay, so he's not playing around his own front triggers, which I think is reasonable, even though that front would have been able to get the Genkai to swing over. I guess
Maybe
we're
he
just going to.
has maybe he has some in hand already.
Quite possible. And again, like, I'm wondering if Charlie wants to no guard this, because.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it's interesting, because again, with the defensive, the defensive
Ooh,
would have
there
made
it
one
is.
of this the easier one to no guard. Yeah, the front comes down there, which unfortunately is going to be wasted on the Genkai. Crit to Van, power to the Fora, which makes it 35, I believe. But then
Oh
Charlie's
my
own
goodness.
OT
Oh
comes
my
down.
goodness.
Wow. So both a defensive OT for both players there,
Exactly.
coming up really clutch. Charlie then doesn't need to guard anything else. I mean, I think the second defensive crit there would have put him at 5k shield on the Furai anyway.
Yeah, because Furai should have been at 20 off the first attack. Well, 20 off the crest and its own skill.
So
Actually,
it would have been 40. Yeah, it would have been 40 with the
40.
triggers,
Yeah,
so 10k
exactly.
shield, but I mean, yeah, Charlie just saves himself from shield there. And I guess the argument is that if you say like 2 to pass your opponent's Vanguard, you know, Kenzio would have broken it. Like I probably would have 2 to pass in that position because I
Yeah,
had the defensive, like take the risk. So he would have broken it anyway. You would have the result would have been the same,
yeah,
but it would have been made like maybe if the OT hadn't come up, makes the Furai a little bit easier to blank. But instead,
correct.
we're just gonna play our own game here. Go into our Magen Tenbu. Probably in this scenario, I want to say Furai attacks the Genkai just to get that
Yeah,
off the board, and then the
yeah,
Magen.
Genkai. Yeah, I was saying Genkai is putting a lot of pressure on these 10Ks right now, and it looks like that's exact. Looks like the grade 1 in the back row was used to select the target.
Ooh, oh yeah, because like I guess he maybe wants to bait Kenzio into like intercepting with the Furai, and
Yeah,
then that way the Furai isn't the one being Magen Tenbu'd. That's also really interesting. But no, we are gonna guard the Magen Tenbu, dominate, and then the Furai will be retired off of that. So
yeah,
pretty much what you expect to happen there. No point going after the grade 1 because it does activate in drop. Charlie's turn here, slightly weaker than Kenzio's. It's an Esperidia, not a Furai, and he doesn't have as big a con with the other side. It's just going to be the Cycle Dragon on its own, which
hmm
is still going to be 13 with the crest. But again, like just like with Charlie, if Kenzio hits a single defensive here, this pretty much blanks the turn.
yeah. Definitely thinking we've got a large hand here on Kenzio's turn. My question is, since Kenzio doesn't have that many, oh sorry, he only has one energy cycler shown all game. My question is, does he have any in hand? Because that will be a great use for this energy at this time. Well, that along with his grade 1 cycler.
Yeah. And the other thing as well, like you were saying before about playing to your front triggers and like attack order, we see here. I think
hmm
Charlie's actually going to attack with Vanguard now. Yeah, Soul Blasting for the
Yeah,
Esperidia. Because the other thing to mention is that Kenzio's on 1, Charlie's on 3. If Charlie attack, like Charlie wants his heals to be live, and he wants to be able to
exactly.
heal while still denying Kenzio's heal. Which, unless he double heals here, this is really solid. PG comes down,
Yep.
and Kenzio's
And
only
looks
going to
like a
take 1.
trigger of some sort.
So yeah, this is
Relatively.
only 13, which is just 5k shield, very easy. So fortunately for Charlie, Kenzio didn't get the defensive. But again, like the pressure coming down here is significantly lower than Kenzio's first stride.
Yeah.
And as we know, like we saw Charlie discard the Oboro. He might have a second, but at the very least, you're dealing with a second Magen Tenbu turn coming up. Maybe
Correct.
even the Oboro turn. Kenzio there
Ooh,
takes the second damage just to get
that's
himself into
that's
heal
the.
range.
I believe that's the 4th Seiryu that we've seen. I think the face
I
down
think you're
twice currently
right.
is the Seiryu, yeah. And I
Yeah.
know there's 2 in Soul. Question is, are we going into Makuro? Is it worth getting rid of both of his board presence right now?
You wouldn't get rid of both things. It would
How about
just be
that?
like,
Yeah,
yeah, on stride, dominate the Esperidia into Vanguard,
yeah,
and then Mukuro Esperidia into Vanguard, Vanguard into Esperidia.
correct.
The
Well, there's
question
the
is,
Esprit discard, so we're definitely going into Magen Timbu,
Magnitenbu,
looks
yeah, so
like.
he doesn't have the second Oboro. I think the question is now, does he want to Energy Blast 3 to get that Esperidia back?
Wouldn't be a bad decision. We're currently at 9 energy right now.
Yep. Or does he want to Energy Blast 7 to draw? That's also worth considering.
If we do that, that would make it to where, oh, and it looks like he is going to Energy Blast 3 to get that Espredia back.
Yep. Which tells me then that he probably doesn't have as much gas in his hand as before. Like,
Correct.
no Sekie, maybe one Furai at most. Yeah, it's going to go straight into the Magen Tenbu effect.
Mhm.
Charlie guards that as well, despite there not being a 10 ray on the board. But like the fact that he's just going straight to the Magen Tenbu again tells me that Kenzio
Mhm.
doesn't have his maybe 2 of maybe 3 of 10 ray in hand. There's no pressure coming down. There's just not a lot happening here other than the 3,
Yeah.
4, maybe 5 attacks we're expecting, which is really good for Charlie.
Exactly. I'm expecting maybe 4 attacks right now.
Oh,
Oh,
ladder is
ladder.
huge. That blanks Charlie's next turn for sure.
Exactly. They definitely. It's. And I mean, now we know why he targeted the Esper idea specifically instead of the grade 1 cycler. And there's his own Esperanto.
Do we have another restand to go with it, or are we just doing 4? Critical thing here to note is that, again, both players now have the heals
Oh,
live. There's the Furai. Big, chunky number. And this, so at the moment, I would say this matchup is just pushed a little bit more in Kenzio's favor. We just
correct.
need to see like what triggers come up. We know Charlie has the PG in hand, which is probably being saved for the Vanguard swing. And Charlie's burned through quite a few triggers already. Like he discarded a heal turn 1 for Ride deck. He discarded another trigger on turn 2 for Ride. Sorry, he discarded the Cycler for Ride on turn 2, but he did guard with the trigger on turn 2. And we've seen 2 defensives come in. So in terms of triggers out of the deck, Charlie's slightly behind, I'd say.
Yeah, I would definitely, especially with the 2 criticals in the damage zone as well. I mean, we're sacrificing a little bit of pressure there. Mm.
Kenzio in the chat is just saying Charlie's cooking me. It doesn't look like that to me, bro. Charlie's the one with the heal visible.
Ooh.
Whoa. So I do like the forward to call a booster, but soul charging the Esperia is definitely rough.
Yeah. Ooh, and there is the Seiryu. Definitely recycling what little Seiryus we currently have right now.
I feel like if your plan was always to bring back the Shenri, then surely it would be better to put the forward Revertis behind the Esperidia and have the Shenri behind the Furai for magic numbers.
Correct.
Because Esperidia with 3 face up is going to be 28, plus the 13 from Shenri is going to be 41? No, 51.
Yep.
Which I guess he's trying to balance his numbers rather than push one really huge number. Heal is no. Oh,
No,
so Charlie took the
there.
That's really smart. Yeah, really smart damage take from Charlie there to deny the heal. So can't heal, and the Furai is currently 30 on its own.
Yeah.
No,
35. It's 35 on its own.
Yes, 35 on its own. And as you said, the Esperidia column is 51. So
correct.
Power to the Furai probably makes sense here.
Yeah, most likely. Oh no, looks like on Esperantia. Okay. Ooh, and there's a grade 2 cycler for an easy way to get rid of that energy.
Charlie goes to 5. Conserves either conserving his hand or his hand is full of garbage. There's a second PG for Esperia. So that tells me that Charlie's hand is probably not very good.
Exactly.
He's had to burn 2 PGs, no triggers coming out.
Correct, and also super big to know that we are still under an Angel Ladder turn right now. So this board on Kenzio's turn is completely invulnerable right now.
Yeah, so Charlie going into the Mukra there is interesting. Like, surely you'd want to go into the Magen Tenbu. Like, you're not doing any dominates, you're not getting any multi-attacks. You might as well get the extra, like, Counterblast 1 to get a GB Accelerate and, like, increase your crest scaling. Because, yeah, the Mukra is just not doing anything here, which is pretty brutal. Yeah. We've seen, I think, 2 Esperidias come out for Charlie. One in damage, one that was just now retired and attacked. So that's...
Yeah, that's 2 of them gone, for sure.
So Esperidia is the only thing that can do anything with the... Oh no, I think Ladder might be rares only, so he might be able to dominate Vanguard?
But you can dominate the Vanguard because you have to resolve the first skill of Makuro first, which does require dominating a rear guard. If you can't dominate the rear guard in the beginning, you can't dominate the Vanguard.
Right, okay. I think that's exactly what they were just talking about, which is why Kenzio's allowed Charlie to reset back into the Magen Tenbu instead. Correct, Charlie realizing, I think, Charlie's probably thinking what I was, which is that, I can still dominate his Vanguard and retire his Furai, right?
Exactly.
But that's why we have that's why we have judges on the commentary to let us know about rulings like that, where you cannot. There we go. You cannot Mukro under Angel Ladder at all. Good to know.
Correct. I mean, you can Soul Blast and not choose a target. I mean,
and then nothing happens. Yeah. So we do see the third Esperidia. So Charlie can do 4 attacks. Yep. So Charlie can do 4 attacks with the scaling from Magen Tenbu, which is good.
Correct. We also haven't seen Charlie's Regalius piece.
True.
So my question is, what Regalius piece does he have? Does he have it in hand?
I think it's almost certainly going to be his own Angel Ladder. The question is whether or not he has it. And we don't even have a third column. So there's going to be 3 attacks coming from Charlie here. That is rough. has no way of getting rid of that Furai either, unless he wants to
Correct.
restand and attack into it, which is pretty neg. Yeah, just 28k Esperidia coming into
Oh,
Vanguard.
interesting to know. Kenzio only showing 3 heal triggers in the drop zone right now. There's something maybe for maybe foreshadowing the future. Don't know, but that's just interesting to know. There's only 3 heal triggers, so that means there's only 1 heal left somewhere that we don't know.
Yeah, I think Charlie's 1 or 2 out, so
Yeah,
it's a little bit better for him. Like maybe going to 5 was a calculated risk. Vanguard
maybe
column coming in here. There's an
coming
argument to
in.
Kenzio no guarding. You've seen at least three crits coming out, so this probably isn't lethal.
Correct, and it would take all 3 crits to kill.
We are
Oh
gonna
no,
drop the
not taking the
PG
risk.
anyway, yeah.
Interesting. Discarding the cycler.
Oh, there's one crit.
Ooh,
Heal, wow. Third trigger. Ooh, Furai, okay.
yeah,
So, yeah, I mean, I still think Kenzio could have afforded to take that. He would have gone
yeah.
to 5, Charlie goes down to 4. Kenzio would be falling a little bit behind with the damage parity, but he's just got so many cards in hand. Charlie's put such a weak turn here. Those triggers he's drive checked is going to be like some of the few shields he's getting.
Ooh. Would you swing your Esperadia currently into this Furai though?
Oh, that's
Because
a good point.
this what this does is it allows it forces Kenzio to go into Makuro, which if he doesn't have Makuro, he can't Mugen Tenbu.
Yeah, and as we've seen, he discarded that the Oboro like turn 1 and hasn't added it back yet.
Correct.
So yeah, this is forcing Kenzio to go into the Oboro with no effect, or saying to Kenzio have the Oboro or Stride Vanilla Magentenbu is pretty solid here.
Yeah. The question is, what did he go into? What did Charlie declare the attack into? Because I probably, in all actuality, I probably would swing into this Furai. This
Yeah,
probably sounds like the best decision because then it forces this Makuro turn, or a
exactly.
wasted Mugen Tenbu.
And there's no way Kenzio's going to keep it alive. Like, not against a
Exactly.
48k Esperidia. Like,
No,
that's just
it
not
is.
happening.
No, that's a 50k. That's a 40k shield. There's no reason to. Oh, he's guarding for something, which means he
Actually, the
may.
alternate question. Oh, he's
Oh,
actually going into Vanguard. We're going to take it. I was going to say the alternate
oh,
question is, yeah, because as Charlie's position, you kind of don't want to lose value of the crit either.
exact.
But
That's
I,
true. You don't want to lose by the
yeah,
crit.
but I was going to say, like, if you're going to damage down your opponent anyway, isn't it better to attack into the Esperidia? Because then the Furai literally, like, the Furai
That's
restand,
true.
you get, like, you lose 5k on the Furai anyway, so it's going to be the same value.
Yeah, true. And it looked like he didn't have the Oboro at all.
Yeah.
Because now would have been the time for Oboro. One rear guard on the board, no angel ladder protection. Because that would have been the time to do the Oboro turn. Or well, sorry, the Makuro turn.
But yeah, no, we are just going to go into the Magen Tenbu, and Esperidia is going to go into Vanguard.
Mm-hmm.
It is suddenly looking rough for Charlie.
We did get a hill and a crit in the last drive check, but even then, a lot of guard value, it seems. Looks like 1, 2, maybe, it look like 5, 6 cards maybe in Charlie's hand right now.
Something, yeah, 6, maybe 7, like, of which we know 3 or 4.
Oh, okay, so 5. Okay, yeah, it looks like 7. Yeah, we know what 3 of them are. Two 15k shields. Yep, there's the heal trigger from last drive checks.
The issue is that obviously now we're going to activate Magen Tenbu, go up to GB5, which is plus
Yep.
25k with crest scaling,
Woo!
which is basically unguardable.
I mean, it's definitely more than 2 cards per man.
Yeah, he's down to 6 cards in hand. I think we've seen
Mhm.
at least 2. We've seen 2 PGs from Charlie as well,
Correct.
and one of them has to come down to the Vanguard swing. And there's 5 attacks coming in this turn, so it's not looking good for
Oh,
Charlie. We're going to Energy Blast 7 to draw.
yeah.
And also, like, I think Charlie making use of the crit there to give Kenzio the damage from Magen Tenbu and denying himself of healing down is making this pretty brutal.
Yeah.
Like, if you're at least on 4-4, or if your opponent was on 3 and you were on 4, there is the chance to get a defensive heal on top. And that probably would have been like one of the ways of surviving this, but now Charlie
Yeah,
basically has to sick damage heal only to survive.
yeah, because we've already seen at least one heal. So maybe no, we've seen two heals in the OT. So there's only
Yep.
two heals left.
Oh, so
Oh, but
yeah,
there's
that
the
there's the heal that
third.
has became unlive because of that crit. And yeah, it was gonna
There
take
it
the sick
is.
damage.
That is game
Kenzio takes
one.
game one. So
Good stuff.
let's see, Bleorvis, 2 for
Oh
Eyes,
wow.
PG front. Yikes.
I think even with 5 damage, I feel like and we saw the top part of his deck. It looked like two triggers on top. So
Mhm.
yeah, that turn was looking unwinnable at that point.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, I think Charlie played that overall well. It's just a question of, again, that very last turn where it's like, do I
Yeah,
damage, like, do I Obro check my opponent and give myself breathing space? Would have been huge.
yeah,
Like, going first is always tough. And I think, again, as I said, when you drive check that forward revertus on grade 2, there's almost an argument to not riding and to just, like, forward and revertus and punish your opponent and force them to give you the first ride.
yeah,
Because, like, worst case, what do they do? Like, they ride up to grade 3, attack your forward revertus and damage an IU, but, like, you're still getting the first ride. Like, you're still going to have faster crest scaling than them, and that's part of
yeah.
what really makes the difference, I think.
Yeah, I most certainly agree. I feel like again, most part game was played pretty well that last turn, and maybe the first turn from Charlie definitely could have done that again. The grade two game differently since we did see the Dark States Dragon Empire crossover card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those ones where, like, I feel like in that situation, in Charlie's point of view, you've seen quite a few triggers early. You discarded one for ride deck, you guarded with one, you defensived one or two. At that point, you know that, like, your offensive pressure is going to be slightly lower than your opponent's. So I
Mm,
feel like there's argument to just going like, okay, I just need to make whatever value I can, and, like, be a bit more aggressive now or be more aggressive here, and just go for it that way.
yeah, it also did not help that Kenzio got that defensive purple OT immediately
Mm-hmm.
on that first turn with the aggro start. I believe with that aggro start, maybe we could have seen a little bit pressure, a little bit different pressure from card. Sorry, I keep seeing CardDweeb whenever I see the little title of the video pop up. But yeah, when Charlie or whenever it pops up, sorry, whenever Charlie saw that defensive OT against Kenzio, it's like it's really hard to keep that pressure up. So that grade three turn, I mean, probably, I mean, it's just hard. The OT is a very it's a different animal. Let's just say that.
Yeah. I mean, I think for both players, like, their defensive OT came up exactly when they wanted it to,
Yeah, exactly.
and I think it just so happens that the turn in which it came up was bigger for Charlie. Sorry, yeah. So
Bigger. I think it was bigger for Kenzio for sure.
as in, like, yeah, Kenzio lost more tempo from Charlie's defensive OT because it was on Kenzio's
Correct.
stride, whereas Kenzio
Yeah.
hit it on Charlie's just grade 3 ride up. And it's one of those ones where
Correct.
they're like, yeah. Again, like, going to your
Oh,
opponent's when your opponent's first striding Magen Tenbu, that's one of the things I dislike about Shiranui is that its strength comes also from its dynamic, like, range, as it were. Like, the way you play when you know that you're facing, like, next time your opponent's going to do their first stride Magen Tenbu, the way you play that is very different to the way you play into a second stride Oboro, right? Like, one involves leaving your board empty, one involves filling your board, like, one involves, like, damage down your opponent, one is, like, rushing them as hard as you can. And it's
yeah.
that, like, forcing your opponent to change gears mid game like that, I think is also a very understated strength of Shunyu as a deck.
Yeah. Yeah, most certainly. And it looks like we're in this game too right now. It looks like Kenzio was forced to go first. It looks like,
Mm-hmm.
and Charlie already got a critical trigger off of the swing, so it looks like Kenzio is going to try to come back swinging into this Seizui.
Yeah, we've got 3 dragons, like 3 cyclers already gone.
Correct.
One was discarded Thelma for ride deck, and then bound to add the second one that was discarded for ride deck back to hand, which we're now going to call as a body, and the third one's in the damage zone. Crit back,
Oh,
that's huge.
so
Shenri there
coming in
getting the
for
5k, so it's going to be 16, 26.
31.
Yep. Charlie takes it, whiffs, like, 2 defensives go unused, which is Very unfortunate.
Mm,
Energy Cycler being discarded. Strong. Do we see a Ford Revertis?
we
Whoa!
do.
What a good player. Out comes the Shenri. Charlie there saying, like, I like what you're doing. I'm going to do it as well.
Exactly. I'm not not only am I like what you're doing, I'm gonna do it with a bigger body.
Commits the early Furai as well. We are just going balls to the wall in game 2 here. Power rushing. Although,
I mean, with that
defensive
early
from
defensive,
Kenzio. Yeah, defensive
yeah,
Kenzio
with
will
that,
hurt here.
yeah, with that early, especially also, uh, Charlie has used both of his energy cycle turns to draw. So his first turn he drew 3 cards off of Crest, grade 0 skill, and energy cycler, and then going into this grade 2, he drew another card. So he's already winning that hand advantage race.
Yeah. I think that's, again, making Kenzio think about guarding here. He's going to take it.
Ooh,
Doesn't hit that critical defensive. So suddenly going to be
oh,
dropping a
oh,
lot of shield
sugar
here.
with the
Front
pass. Oh,
comes
front.
down.
Oh,
So
and
this it does still. So this would have hit over the defensive anyway. So we're looking at
correct.
33 coming in, which is 25k shield. We're going to take that as well. Another no trigger
No,
comes down. So that's, yeah. Suddenly Kenzio massively on the back foot there.
correct.
Charlie there just showing the power of energy cyclers. Like, I've made a board and I still have more cards than you. That's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. And it looks like we only had 5 cards in hand from Kenzio, so looks like we are
Yeah.
six cards in hand. Looks like
Plus the draw for turn.
correct.
So
So
it
6 cards going down to 5 for this discard.
So here's a question then. Given how far he's behind, is there an argument to using that energy cycle grade 1 on the board right here, right now? Like, you're losing
Yeah.
board presence, and losing board presence is rough, but you also just need the body, like the cards in the bodies. And like, sure, the Bleorbis is not shield value, but it's gonna draw cards when you start striding next turn. I think that's,
Oh, it looks like he
there
is.
it is. Yeah, we're just Kenzio here absolutely scraping for everything he can. Is there an argument to calling the Bleorbis? I guess not, because you don't have the grade
Mm,
4 Vanguard to pop.
yeah.
It's just
Yeah,
gonna
I
be a body.
wouldn't. Exactly.
But yeah, like, and Kenzio there calling out the Genkai just has to assume, giving Charlie that dominate target, but you also
Yeah,
want to
because
start roughing his up his board, right?
yeah. Ooh, Angel Ladder. Yeah, it looks like we have to at this point.
Yeah.
Because right now it's a dead card in hand, especially against an entire huge board. Because Charlie's going to go in this stride turn next turn, and it's going to be rough.
There's an argument to like saving the ladder for the Oboro turn, but I think Kenzio's so far behind,
Mhm.
he needs to burn it
Yeah,
now just to catch up, which I think is totally
yeah.
understandable.
Because yeah, exactly. He's leaving his Genkai on board, which even Genkai skill itself, going to call something out from the forcing an opponent to resurrect something. I think we have energy cyclers in the grave right now, so having like minimum 19k swinging in the Vanguard, that's going to be another card or two out of hand, depending on how if we have triggers in hand.
Yep.
Mm, there he is.
Shenri's gonna make. So Shenri's not gonna be live unless Kenzio
Correct.
starts swinging into rearguard here. So that's only gonna be a 23k column on the Ford reverses because Ford does
Hmm.
gain 5k itself. But yeah, Charlie's definitely in a position where he can like guard this, intercept the Genkai for like assuming no triggers come down, which Heal does.
Ooh, and Elementaria. We're gonna blank that thing.
Yeah,
Also, super huge. He got rid of his grade 1 Cycler Dragon, so
so
that
it's
card is
in the
live
drop
next
rate.
turn
Yeah,
potentially.
that's also massive. Charlie damages PG. No defensive, so this Genkai still does hit in. But we are just gonna guard instead of intercepting, and then the Ford reverses for
Correct.
23. So Charlie's gonna guard this really aggressively, which I'm curious about. Like that's, oh, actually no, Shenri is live because we use ladder.
Oh, that is correct.
Wow.
Yeah,
So
I don't know why I didn't think about that.
yeah, so massive
Yeah,
comeback turn from Kenzio there. Big heal on
yeah.
top. Charlie shows him
It's like
another cycler. Wow, 3 for 3 on energy cyclers
three
to
for
ride.
three. Wow.
Crazy.
Drawing another card. It looks like Genkai going to be 10k in the back.
Boosting the Vanguard. That is
Yep.
2 PGs gone for Charlie though. 1 in damage, 1 in soul. So yeah, definitely like Charlie's aggro, too fast, too furious game plan is he's committed to it now.
Yep.
So yeah,
Ooh.
Cannon Blast
At
1 for
least we have
Magnitude.
at least we have the Esper idea, so we're not completely dead.
Yes. The unfortunate thing as well is that Genkai doesn't even gain boost anymore because no dominate happened. So it
Correct.
just chilling in the back row is a little bit rough, but I think Charlie's saying like, I'm going to show you Esperity, I'm going to show you Furai. These are targets that you would much rather kill with your stuff, so I can at least bank on keeping my Genkai and PG checking you
Hmm.
with my Vanguard swing next turn. Yeah, Kenzio's going to guard early. We're going to see Vanguard column come in. No, Forward reverse is not being able to boost the Esperity as like, again, Charlie's losing so much power and numbers here because his like
Yeah.
that Furai doesn't have any. It's what 15 base because of the crest plus the
Yeah, it's only
8.
15. That's it.
Yeah, like he's kind of banking on Kenzio intercepting here just so that the Shenri goes live. Crit to
Well,
Vanguard piles Esperidia.
Shinri should be. Oh, yeah, that's right. It's not like Saragon.
Yeah, so it's one or less regards.
It's
So
more or less is correct.
Kenzio again hitting no defensives, 9 cards in hand, should be able to guard the rest of this.
Yeah, it
28k
should be.
Esperidia, it's a 20k
Should
shield.
should be. We've got an Elementary in hand. The question is, do we burn it now? We don't.
No, he's still got triggers. The front there means that he doesn't need to go 15k and a 5, so he keeps his board. So that no intercept means that Shenri's still not live, which means that 15k is enough shield for this. So yeah,
Correct.
Charlie with the massive early pressure couldn't convert it into a big lead. Like sure, he got the crit. Kenzio went to 5, but
Mhm.
realistically, Kenzio should have been on 4 here. So definitely not in lethal range. And now Charlie has to deal with Kenzio's first ride, giving him a whole board to play
Yeah.
with.
My question is, do we even have Furizer Esradias in Kenzio's hand? That's the ultimate question. Do we even have them?
Yeah, Kenzio forcing Charlie to call just to take a
Yeah,
bit more
just
off
to
the
get.
board. So forward reverse
Yeah,
just goes away, not a big loss, but it is still technically a loss. If Kenzio gets rid of that Esperidia, that forward reverse at least could have pushed up as an attacker. But yeah, we're gonna get the on stride dominate.
yeah. And
Well, we're
there's the
gonna blue.
third Cycler Dragon.
Yep. And notably here, Kenzio with all the damage in the world can now spam his Genkai.
Hmm.
So there's the Genkai effect. Charlie's gonna take the dominate from the Furai, banking on defensive there, or maybe try and like fish for heals. I mean, Kenzio's heals are always live at this point, which is what the rough part.
True.
So yeah, Counterblast 2, one for the Magen Tenbu, and then once again for the Genkai, which is
Yeah.
absolutely. So even though Kenzio fell behind in the early, this stride turn is now, assuming Kenzio makes a restander, this stride turn way out pressures Charlie. Both
Correct.
players being on high damage from the early rush is also now playing out to Kenzio's favor, now that he's getting like that little bit more reach, which you get from striding. This is
What did
suddenly
he
looking
tar-
like a slingshot game.
Yeah, no. What did he target with Magen Timbu? Do we know?
I would assume the Furai.
I would assume. There's an argument maybe for Genkai. Maybe. Again, it's a very,
Second
very
damage comes
small
down.
argument.
Yeah. Charlie
Ooh.
loses a Sanctitude, which is huge. Kenzio still has his, by the way. He didn't burn it last turn, so
Correct. Yep.
I think the only way Kenzio's even remotely threatened going into next turn is if Charlie finds Oboro material. But even then, like, Charlie has to survive this turn before we
Correct.
even get to a
Ooh.
Mukuro.
Oh,
Pulling back,
oh,
show us the Furai. Show us the Furai, Kenzio.
Urai or Esperadia, either one of those will do at this point. 3. Looks like 8 cards in hand in total from Kenzio.
I think it's a similar number for Charlie as well.
Yeah.
Just gauging positions. Charlie can if he has the Obro, Charlie can definitely Mukuro next turn. And
Yeah.
if Kenzio makes a board, he triple drives to recoups it back, but he's still going to be on 7, maybe 8 cards. Oh, I think we're about to see 2 Resanders come down. Yeah. So Kenzio does have the Sanctitude and 6 other cards. So Kenzio's probably safe from a Mukuro as well. Oh, we're going to see a Bleorbis.
Ooh. Do we shoot?
Oh, I
Do we
like that.
shoot? Yeah, shoot down that Esperadia.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just denying Charlie of like any chance of a comeback. I'm curious as to why the Bleorbis didn't come down in front of the Genkai though, because that makes magic numbers.
True.
Whereas the Furai in front of the Genkai doesn't.
Maybe he maybe.
Whoa! Second Bleorbis comes down. There's the Furai we expected.
There's the Furai, yeah.
So yeah, so Kenzio committing hard here. I assume he's going to push the lead game. Like, I think that's one of the things. Like, you know, obviously Charlie was fishing on a defensive, but going up to 5 there, like, you almost bait your opponent to like go for it, man. I dare you, like, you know, like push for lethal. If you don't, I'm probably going to win.
Oh, that's 2 card guard from hand.
You're going to see probably the PG here, I assume.
Yeah. There.
OT. Okay, so that's OT pass.
That's 2. No, that's 2.
28, 33.
Because it's 33 to 63, so it's all 3. All 3.
Yeah, 3 pass, which we got all blanks, but this is still what? 15, 20, 25 on the. No, just 20 on the forward. No, 25, yeah.
Yep, 25.
And then, yeah, 15k for each of them.
Yep. My question is, does Charlie even have the ability to stride?
There's the Oboro.
There it is.
Big, so 3 cards in hand, though. So, and we know that Kenzio has at least 1 Sanctitude, so this Mukro needs to pull a crazy amount of weight here.
Correct. The question is, do we have some restanders in hand so we can take advantage of these drive checks?
What have we got?
Cycler. Ooh, we're having to use the counterblast in order to do so.
Yeah, he's got no energy because he's just blasting those grade ones.
Those dragons have been putting in some solid work in today.
So 10k shield comes down from Kenzio. We have a body, but we. Yep. So there's the Oboro. We need to see at least 1 big trigger come down, or at least like a ladder or something.
And then Oboro swinging in, and looks like Furai.
And then no guard, lets the Furai die. No triggers. No triggers, no ladder, no restander. I think it was that 2 Shenris, right? Or was it Shenri grade 1?
It looked like Shenri grade 1.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be rough here. Like, Charlie, again, he's got the Furai, but he's not really... This entire series has just been Charlie not being able to put up that much of an offensive pressure, which...
Correct. So we got Furai at 25, 35 currently right now? 35, yeah. They've been 3 dominates.
Yes. Plus the Shenri, which is not live, so it's only 43.
Yeah, that's still a big number. That's still at least
2 more Shenris come down. Yeah, I guess the positioning... Yeah, the 8Ks don't make... They make a slight difference, but a massive one. Again, Kenzio there filling his board so that Shenri isn't live either is very solid.
Correct.
So this is going to be 43, which is
43.
Not easy, but definitely guardable.
Because we have, looks like 1, 2, it looks like 7 cards left in hand right now.
Yeah. And we have, like, definitely Sanctuary is going to come down on the Vanguard column.
Correct,
so the other side is going to be 16, 26. Just 26 before triggers. So that's super guardable. So yeah, as Kenzio just needs to get through these 2 Furai swings.
Yeah.
As long as Charlie doesn't hit double crit. Or double trigger of any kind.
Yeah. Question.
Charlie's quite a few triggers out. Because double trigger makes that grade 1 column go from 26 to 46. To 30s.
Yeah. Well, double trigger.
Yeah. So 36 is still guardable. 36 is 5k, 20k, which...
Correct.
We have to... I think we saw the front come in last turn for Kenzio as well, right?
Or
was it heal? No, it wasn't heal. I think it was a crit. You're right. He might have guarded with it. I haven't. So OT straight away. I don't hate it. I would have considered saving the over trigger for the after restand because obviously, like, you risk Charlie dropping triggers here onto the Furai as well.
True.
But yeah, we got the Sanctuary coming down as we expected. Heal is
Yeah.
huge. Power to the grade 1 column, though, I suspect.
Yeah.
So the Furai is what? Still 45 with the trick, if we had the trick. So 35 minutes.
Yeah, if you have the trigger.
So 30, 35, 38, 36 to deal with. Which is now much more. Yeah, there we go. Four triggers coming down from Kenzio. Survives by the skin of his teeth. Now, will calling down the Absorbers behind Vanguard hurt him? Because can he stride? Top decks the Mukuro! Oh my god!
Oh.
He's just built different.
No.
Wow.
And the worst part about it is this. No, I was about to say his Mukuro is going to be even more powerful, but no, because
Nope. Yeah, Charlie's like, yeah.
There's hardly been any strides this game.
Just takes it. Yeah, man. Charlie's like, yeah, and you just wanted it more. You hit the Oboro. What can I say?
Oh, he even had Espra Dia in hand. So even no matter what he had in hand, he still had
the ability to stride to something. Yeah. But the Mukuro, they're coming down.
It's huge.
I don't see Charlie being able to do anything here.
Yeah, because again, we committed that hard hand last turn. That's it.
Last year doesn't come down. Going to go to 6, and that's it. Kenzio is going to take 2-0 versus Charlie. So for those of you, this is going to be spoilers because obviously we're recording this before Game 2 is already out. But Owl Coop tied it up 1-1 in Game 2. So now Owl Coop pushes into the lead 2-1 at the end of Game 3 thanks to Kenzio. So yeah, it's still tight. It's still anybody's game. But yeah, that is going to be it for Game 3. I just want to thank again, Nate for joining us on this. It's been real fun having you on. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter. I'm quite literally there all the time. Sagran _ I post a lot of stuff on there. My bad takes.
It will be linked.
Some judge calls.
Yep, it will be down in the description, so you can find them there. But yeah, that's going to be it for Game 3. Thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Please keep tuned to the rest of the VPL finals games coming up very soon. And like I said at the beginning of the stream, we've got a little special extra content at the end, so stay tuned for that. But until then, that's going to be it from us. Thank you very much. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.